Mark is probably the nicest man in history. You know, I think probably to his own detriment a lot of the time. You know, he was my little buddy. And, you know, I think all of us probably had killer instincts. You know, there'd be a point where we go, ah! You know, Mark just hasn't. You know, he genuinely is. I bet he was Florence Nightingale in a previous life or something, or I don't know. His albums, I've got to say, since going solo, have probably been the most authentic songs out of the lot of us. You know, his albums and his lyrics and his melodies are amazing. All the old photos and everything and all the old videos I think are brilliant. And it also, you know, for embarrassment's sake, you'd have to go a long way these days for me to be embarrassed, because I got my arse wiped off with a mop and loads of jelly as me and 4 of my mates lay on our fronts naked, you know. And then we had codpieces and pit boots and lycra all-in-ones, you know. And at the time, you know, because there's a set of rules that if you're of a certain mindset you have to adhere to. You know, I was really into hip-hop and I was really into indie music, and the two didn't go together, you know, so there was an internal embarrassment all the time. But now, brilliant pop. And when I say pop, I mean the photos, the interviews. They were just great pop stars. And I must say, I don't think there's been a boy band as good as us for entertainment and for songs ever since. Yeah. And you'd be hard pressed to find one before too. Mm. You know, I'm not talking about the Beatles. They're not a boy band. You know, I'm talking about your archetypal 4 or 5 lads on stage singing and dancing. You know, and New Kids were great. And what's the one Justin Timberlake was in? NSYNC weren't too bad. But for a live show, you know, our shows were as good as a Madonna show, I think.
They were.
You know,
talking about the rules,
boy bands are friggin' lazy these days. Ballad, stand. When I see it, it annoys me. So I know how hard we worked and I know how hard they got me to work, because I was lazy too, but I still did it. Westlife. We did this club. We did a PA in there. Do what you like. And afterwards, we had a meet and greet. Loads of girls came back in. And this room was full of girls. And this one girl just backed onto me. And I remember thinking she was really fit. And I was 17, hormones raging. And she started playing with my cock in the dressing room. Like that. And I'm looking over at Nigel to see if he can see, and he's not looking and all I'm doing is watching Nigel like that, thinking, how am I gonna get her back to the B&B? Because he was staying at a B&B on the front. And so we went, right lads, we're going now. So I went, B&B on the front, see you in a bit. Off she goes. Then we go back to the B&B and then go on the beach for a drink and a smoke and chat about the night. And then loads of girls came out from the club, you know. And so Nigel went, right lads, in. So we went back into the B&B. And Nigel had imposed there's no sex ban. Now, me and Mark get into my room. I went, Mark, there was a girl at the club, and she did, and I'm looking at Nigel, and I'm going out in my mind, man, because that's telling me I've got to go and do the thing I've got to do, right? And it's only natural, right? So why should I be stopped doing it, right? And he goes, you're right, Robbie. Why don't you go and tell Nigel? I will. I'll go and tell him. I'll be brave. It's only natural, right? And he goes, yeah, and I'll hide in the cupboard. So he hides in the cupboard. I go and knock on Nigel's door. I went, Nigel, there's a girl outside, right? She wants to sleep with me and I want to sleep with her, and I think it's only natural, and I think you should just let me this one time. So he goes, and he thinks about it for a bit. Bearing in mind, she's already knocked on my window, because we're on the bottom floor. So she's knocked on my window, and I've opened the curtains, I've gone like that. And I'm looking around the hole of the bottom floor, saying, well, I could get through the shower window and I could jump out of here. I go to the other floor and jump down. Nigel's right next door to me. So, and I was fully expecting to probably be sacked, right? Or to be really shouted at. And he went, yeah, all right, just this once. Yeah, but... Oh, okay, thanks. Went into my room and I'm like, oh, he's letting me do it, he's letting me do it to Mark, right? And then Nigel obviously thought about it and come in. And he went, actually, I thought... And Mark was laughing in the cupboard and he went, who's in there? And I went, Mark! Grasped him straight up. Mark Owen! Like that. And he went, right, you, out, and you, bed. Like that. And I'm thinking, I really shagged that one, didn't I? My drug taking would have happened with or without Take That. You know, and before Take That, I'd done acid and speed and smoked a lot of weed. So I was sort of heading into that direction anyway. And, you know, I think... Yeah, for me, the drug intake obviously sped up a lot quicker until it was my life, you know. But for the other lads, it wasn't really part of their life. Probably the best times were just when the 5 lads were together and we would laugh. Because we did a lot of laughing and a lot of giggling. You know, and there's not one... I think probably the best time, Promises had just gone in at number 39. We were in a hotel in London, and we all jumped up and down on my bed and we broke it. That's the most excited I've ever been about a chart entry of Take That or me solo. I've never been more happier than 39 with Promises, because we got in the top 40. I think, you know, it's like... I'd go into a room with Mark, Howard and Jason now, you know. But I think with Gary, I think there's a strange mixture of guilt from my part on what I said after I left the band, and also knowing that I wouldn't get any resolve. Yeah, I wouldn't get any resolve. Because I don't think, as a person, he could see how he was, or what he did, or how he acted, or how he behaved. And also, you know, it's like, I've been on Friends Reunited. I've tried to get in contact with people from my school. It hasn't worked out. Why should Take That be any different? It's 12 years ago. You know, I was a person then that I'm not now. You know, and people move on. And yeah, there wasn't a goodbye properly. And maybe there will be in the future. But right now, I don't think I could be in the same room with Gary.